We have been watching for years how solar energy technology has been developing since the early 2000s. Back then it was new and costly, and the cost of electricity in Ukraine was so low that there was no sense in installing solar panels back then. Since these times, things have changed dramatically. Technology has developed, and now it offers much cheaper solutions than it used to be. On the other hand, the cost of electricity rose tremendously, especially during the last 2 years. But still, we would be in doubt and rather wait before considering our own solar power station. The war changed the equation. In the fall of 2022, in October, Russia began attacking Ukrainian infrastructure, launching missiles to destroy the power generation chain, thus leaving the whole country with no electricity, heating, water for days. The attacks were repeating every week or so, with up to 100 long-range missiles and kamikaze drones targeting the objects all around Ukraine. In such a situation, we could spend days getting electricity on and off by a schedule. It was a challenge to work at the office when we had just 4 hours to run the equipment and sit idle other 4 hours. It's not just uncomfortable, but was causing equipment failures. Then we spent another few days trying to fix the issues. During the fall and winter, Russia destroyed and damaged up to 60% of the Ukrainian power generation capacity. Friends of Ukraine from the EU, USA, Canada, and many other countries helped a lot to overcome the issue by sending equipment to restore the power supply and generators for the hospitals, schools, and other important objects as an alternative power source.
Was captured in a child's bedroom in Kyiv. 158 weapons fired by the Russians. Dozens made it through, with a missile obliterating part of this shopping mall in Dnipro.
That's when we fought. Now it is the time to revisit the idea of the solar power station for our needs, which could give us more power self-sufficiency. Solar power would enable us to work no matter how good or bad the overall situation with electricity is in Ukraine. Moreover, even when the war is over and the situation gets better, we'll still be benefiting from having the solar station of our own, saving thousands of dollars we otherwise would pay as electricity bills. We considered our options and decided to build our own power station incrementally, starting from a less powerful setup and then adding additional panels and inverters to meet the demanded capacity. Our power supply from the central grid is 60 kilowatts. At this range, we could easily run all other machines except the printing press and of course the computers, lights, etc. at the offices. To our great joy, we received 2 grants for this project from generous donors from the US and Finland. The construction of the power plant started in August of 2023. Engineers from the installation company came and measured the roof for the panel placement. Shortly after, the plan was developed, and our team began repairing the roof and renovating the room for the inverters and safety equipment installation. It was the hardest and most time-consuming task. Almost all the jobs were done by hand. We covered the roof's surface with a layer of reinforced concrete and then secured it with 2 layers of rubroid. The materials used must serve for at least 25 years with no additional repairs required. It's an average term a solar power plant is intended to work. At the same time, we bought all the equipment and materials needed for the solar plant itself, including 55 solar panels produced by Canadian Solar Company and 2 Austrian-made Fronius inverters. They were delivered in September and stored for further installation. Another big chunk of work was the panel stands. Due to our circumstances, we couldn't buy them and were forced to produce them ourselves to our panel's dimensions. For the stands to last the same 25 years without repainting, we either zinc-plated them or ordered the parts produced on demand from the zinc-plated steel. When all the parts were welded together, we sandblasted them and painted with an anti-rust industrial-grade paint. All in all, even though the stands were much more expensive than we expected, they look great and will withstand any harsh conditions for years to come. It must be said we took the safety issues very seriously while building our power plant and used the best equipment and materials. To avoid the risk of fire or equipment failure, we bought only certified equipment, parts, etc., produced in Europe and the USA, not the cheaper Chinese alternatives sold on our market. The whole process of renovating the roof and manufacturing the panel stands took us almost 7 months. Our work was disrupted by winter, but after all we were ready for the power plant's installation in March of 2024. 2 engineers from the installation firm came, and it took them 4 days to finish the job and connect the panels and inverters to the grid. On March 12, 2024, we began producing electricity at our solar power plant. For now, the production capacity of the plant is limited to the level of our consumption, even though it can produce more during sunny days. At summer, it may produce much more than we need during the working days. But in winter, production falls to 10 to 15% of the plant's capacity. To overcome such a disbalance, a law was introduced last year to encourage the companies to build their own solar power plants for self-consumption. It allows us to sell the surplus electricity to the grid, thus not limiting production. And in the winter, we'll use that money to pay for the electricity according to our needs. This law must help our country as well to overcome the consequences of the Russian attacks on the power stations countrywide by distributing energy production. Distributed energy production is a concept of the development of the energy generation system, which encourages the production of energy locally by the consumers themselves, individual farms, communities, and enterprises. At the end of this video report, we'd like to thank our friends around the globe for your compassion, prayers, and financial support in our solar power plant project.